you're an info seller, meaning you sell a course, coaching, consulting package, mastermind, and you're looking to scale your business to 30 to 50K a month, there is no faster way to do so than copy. And so today I'm going to expose the 6 months and thousands of dollars I spent learning the skill, building all the systems, and everything in between. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything I learned, starting with the hidden but unignorable downsides of copywriting, traditional copywriting that is, then moving to the core principles of good copy you can apply into your business today, and finally, how to build a simple copy system that prints cash inside your business. My name is Omar, and I make info founders an extra 5 to 6 figures a month by scaling B2B programs. If that sounds like something you're interested in, drop me a follow because I'm going to be releasing thousands of dollars worth of systems, templates, frameworks, and value that I use for my own paying clients that will allow you to do just that over the next few months. To preface, before we begin, this is extremely high level information. This isn't going to be your basic, write emails, create a VSL. I'm actually going to go in depth into these frameworks and tell you exactly what you need to do to hack copy for your own benefit. So with that said, if you've yet to post any content or are still building out your offer, this isn't going to be the video for you. And feel free to pause the video at any time to write down any of the frameworks or cheat sheets that I show on the screen, but I won't necessarily have time to go over, word for word, right? So the goal for all of us is to make as much money with as little effort by helping people go from A to B as efficiently as possible. With that said, copy is an extremely boring section of business, and that's why I'm going to show you how to hack it for your own benefit, right? So let's start by going through the hidden but unignorable downsides of copywriting. The first being the illusion of AI, right? Even if AI knows your audience's pain points and you feed it all these little details, it's never really going to know your audience like you do. And it's also never going to be able to write like a human. It's never going to have that human kind of vibe to the writing, right? When you read it, especially for sales copy, it's just going to be talking like a bot, basically. And so the future of copy is AI assisted, but not AI written. It's a tool that you can leverage, but you shouldn't be relying on it to write everything for you. Also, AI does not take into consideration levels of awareness, the first principles, emotions, psychology, all the stuff we're going to talk about. It does not take it into consideration. And me, myself, I spent a long time building out a custom GPT, which I fed it basically everything that I'm going to be going over in this video. And still, I cannot trust it to write even a caption for me because it sounds so much. It still sounds like AI, and it's really can't generate me anything usable, right? Copy is also an extreme time investment, right? There's not much to say about that. It's normal for you just to be sitting at a Google document, with not much changing for hours at a time, right? It's also a moving target. And what I mean by that is the market is always changing. You need different tones in your writing and different angles for different levels of awareness and other factors which we're going to go over later, right? And there's a copy YouTuber who sells a course on copywriting. He made his own landing page and he scripted the VSL really well. And some dude copied his landing page word for word and he did not sell a single person on it. And that's because copy that is tailored for a specific market is not going to work in another market. Everything has to be customized, and that's why it's a moving target, right? Mind blocks are extremely common as well, right? You could just be sitting there. It's hard to come up with new angles and new ways to write stuff and new ideas, right? When I was first starting copy, I basically wrote the same thing 5 different times when I was sending outreach to people. Also, lack of strategy or mentorship is dangerous. I actually ended up fumbling a client when I was first starting out because I thought my copy was so good, but in reality it was horrible, right? And when I showed it to someone more experienced, it was pretty bad, right? So with that, let's move to the core principles of copy, right? Let's start with the first principles. These are the fundamental truths of copywriting that can't be broken down any further, right? If you understand and internalize these, meaning you start every piece of writing with these in mind, copywriting becomes easy, right? And copywriting really just is the use of words to persuade someone to take a specific action. And all copy is, the way we're doing it, is You have a human plus stimulus equals action. The human is who you're talking to, their pains, desires, beliefs, their awareness level, that specific person, that specific group of people that you were trying to target, right? The stimulus, the words you use, right? Which is a copy. And the action is what you want them to do, whether that be booking a call, signing up for your email list, whatever it may be, right? Next, humans are lock and key systems. The mind is the lock and your copy is the key. To unlock the action that you want, you have to study the pins, the heuristics, inside the lock. Heuristics are mental shortcuts or cognitive biases that people use to decide quickly, right? And here are 4 examples that are extremely common. Consistency bias. People feel pressure to act in ways that align with their past behavior. Sunk cost bias. People tend to stick with decisions they've invested in. Scarcity. You guys have all seen this. People desire things that seem limited. And 4th, social proof. People follow the actions of others. And I'm sure if you look at some of the big info sellers, anyone you've seen selling stuff online, they all use these kind of principles. And it's really obvious once you know them, right? Next, stimuli, which we talked about earlier, is anything that triggers action. Whether it's a headline, a subject line of an email, bullets on an email, call to actions, thumbnails even. These are all stimuli. Your job as someone who's writing copy is to create effective stimuli. Effective stimuli are stimuli that succeed in causing humans to perform the desired action. Secondly, a stimuli's effectiveness cannot be judged on a binary scale, meaning it's not, was my stimulus effective, yes or no. It exists on a spectrum. Whether it was 0% effective all the way to 100%, right? Next, latent conditions shape effectiveness. We're going into a lot of psychological stuff here, but psychology is extremely important in copy. It is the number one deciding factor of good copy, right? Latent conditions are the underlying physiological, situational, or cognitive conditions that humans in a specific niche or market share. So if this is you, let's say you're a fitness coach, and this is your ideal client, here are some of their latent conditions. They compare themselves to their younger self and feel ashamed that they let themselves go. They feel invisible in their own home, once the provider and the protector, now the tired guy on the couch. They know what to do. They need to eat better, they need to move more, but they feel mentally paralyzed when it's time to take action. And these are the things you have to know when you're targeting anyone, right? And it's going to be different for everyone. You can't steal from other people because you in your mind have to know who your content and who your offer and who your product is going to be aimed towards, right? Next, micro-macro action chains. Link together small actions, opening an email, clicking a link, reading an email, watching a video to drive the bigger goal. Book a call, buy a product, etc. Every link in the chain of small actions has to work. One weak stimulus can break the entire flow. So let's say they start with seeing your thumbnail on YouTube. They never heard about you. This is a stranger, and we're trying to collect the payment from them in the end. They see your thumbnail, they click on your video, they watch your video, they read the description, they click on your link, they open and read the emails that you send them from that link, they book a call, they listen to you on the call, and after this cycle repeats, you can collect the payment, right? Because that is the process of taking people from stranger to buyer. Next, I'm going to go over these briefly, but these are the 7 pillars of persuasion, the core principles that eliminate gimmicky tactics and baseless frameworks. If you internalize these, you can write words that sell a lot. You can confidently write any type of copy. You can grow your own offer and brand. You can easily secure high-ticket clients, and you can escape the disease of mediocre writing. So I'm just going to go over these briefly and explain the concepts, so we can get to the cash printing copy system at the end. Firstly, the customer bubble. The better you understand your customer, the more money you will make, and the more persuasive and effective your copy will be. Every great piece of persuasion is written with the customer in mind the entire time. So here is the customer, right? There's this thing called the customer bubble, and every single piece of your copy has to start in the customer bubble. The customer bubble consists of your dream client's suspicions, pains, beliefs, desires, failures, fears, and you have to start all your writing in there, right? This is their fake reality, their bubble, what's in their head. and it is built by their beliefs, their judgments, their theories, which is something they start to develop after, a ton of experiences and stuff, right? Their attention, their experience, and their reality, which we can never know, right? And so you have to know their beliefs, desires, fears, emotions, pains, failures, and suspicions, because people will do anything, meaning they will buy your product if you encourage their dreams, confirm their suspicions, allay their fears, justify their failures, and throw rocks at their enemies, right? Secondly, the new opportunity. The most compelling offer that you can give someone is a new opportunity. The most persuasive leaders in history gave their followers a new opportunity, right? It's not an improvement. It has to be something totally new, right? They can't associate it with something of the past. Let's look at the iPod, which came as something revolutionary. Airbnb, which marketed themselves as something completely different from traditionally booking, a hotel. And so if we look at all these top info sellers who have made millions selling info online, they all gave their followers a new opportunity, right? Eddie Cumberbatch absolutely, pooped on SMMA. He said, "Don't do this. It's washed. It's over. It's saturated. Instead, do this new opportunity that I'm introducing to you, which is growth operating." Dan Coase, same thing. 9 to 5 and freelancing is the old opportunity. Solopreneurship, or starting a one-person business, is the new opportunity. Hamza, instead of just focusing on the traditional boring idea of improving yourself, he introduced the concept of becoming Adonis. And recently he's launched his product Educational Creators, which is basically just being a YouTuber selling info, but he rebranded it, and that's the name of his product, right? Iman Gadzhi, who we're going to look at later, he was the pioneer of, selling courses and stuff, and he introduced people. He got a lot of people aware about online business and specifically SMMA. He started the big wave of SMMA. And this is the Prolific Index, which is based on the awareness level, which we're going to cover in a second, right? If you want your offer to print money, it has to be prolific to your audience. It cannot be crazy to your audience, like, stealing chickens and then reselling them on the black market, and it cannot be too mainstream to your audience. Like, SMMA is now considered mainstream because it's so oversaturated and everyone has heard about it. It has to be something in the middle, prolific. So in 2021, SMMA was the prolific new opportunity for anyone who wanted to make money online. But now, in 2025, it's mainstream to most people. But, AI agencies, remote closing, selling courses, that's what's hot right now. But to a different niche, to a different market, SMMA could still be prolific. Let's say to people who are ages 40 plus, maybe they weren't checking Instagram or YouTube, or they weren't, they're not aware about SMMA and how oversaturated it is, right? So that the whole idea is to sell the concept and not the product. Sell the concept first. If you want to sell people on ClickFunnels, you first have to sell them on the concept of funnels. Same thing with Keto Pills, same thing with Agency Navigator, which is Iman's product, right? So ask yourself, who is your target audience and is it prolific to them? Next, this is extremely important, the levels of awareness, the awareness funnel. Basically, these are the levels of awareness, right? And these are stages that your dream clients will go through usually before they buy, right? So you're starting off with someone who's unaware, which is they don't know that they have a problem worth solving. Level 2, they sense that they have a problem, but they don't know that there's a solution. Level 3, solution aware. They know the results that they want, but don't know that your product provides it, or they don't know about your product. Level 4, they know what you sell, but they aren't sure that it's right for them. This could be someone who's checked out your page, checked out your website, watched your VSL, whatever it may be. Level 5, most aware. These are the repeat buyers and loyal customers who get you referrals. And your job with copy is just to take people down the levels of awareness. It's really that simple, right? So let's look at Iman Gadzhi's awareness funnel. He starts by targeting people that need money, right? And he makes them believe the best way to make money is to start a business. And then after they believe that, he gets them to believe that starting an online business is way better than a physical location. And after that, an SMMA is the best online business model to start. After that, the best slash only way to learn how to start an SMMA is by joining Educate. Fourth, the magic thread. Your campaign has to have a simple, big idea. Your readers are looking for one big idea that will make them more successful. It has to be strong, easy to understand, and easy to achieve. And the rules are you have to lead with one powerful idea. You have to make sure it creates one big emotion. You have to support the idea with either an engaging story or a compelling fact. And you have to direct the reader to one action. So it's extremely simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Before you write, summarize your message in one sentence. For example, sitting will kill you. Do this to avoid it. College is a waste of time and money. Sell high-value skills instead. Working more than 4 hours is killing your creativity. Use AI to cut your work week in half. And as you write, always keep the big idea in mind. And let's look at this email from, I think it was Alex Hormozy, but I'm not completely sure. And all the things I just talked about are present in this email that has probably sold tens of thousands of dollars, right? He led with one big idea, which he continuously talked about. And the idea is you must own part of a business to gain your financial freedom. There's no way around it. You have to become a business owner. He says it right there. Second, he pushes the emotion of motivation, makes them feel motivated. And he says, by starting a business, you can take complete control of your financial destiny and unlock the potential for unlimited income and total freedom. He uses a compelling fact, statistic to support it. And then near the end of the email, he goes on to direct them to a YouTube video, which is the one action. Fifth, high-value writing. Basically, as little words as possible, your job is to increase the perceived value of your product through your copy, right? You do this by raising the dream outcome, raising the perceived likelihood of achievement, and lowering the time delay, how long it will take to achieve that outcome, and lowering how much effort and sacrifice is needed. And so after that equation, you get value. Let's look at a headline I wrote. Exposing the 3-step process car salesmen use to ditch the lot and make $12K a month plus with remote closing within 90 days without cold calling or 8-hour shifts, right? You see all these bold was me, raising the dream outcome, making it even better, instead of 3K a month, it's 12K a month, lowering the effort and sacrifice, increasing the perceived likelihood of achievement, right? And you can look at these, for example. These two are low value offers. No one wants to go on a diet. No one wants to meditate. It's boring. Everyone wants, a pill or a surgery or something they can just click that will solve all of their problems. That's what is high value. So if you look at Xanax, you look at getting a surgery as opposed to moving more and, trying to lose weight the traditional way. And this is an important framework I'm going to include, which is the Life Force 8. And it states that these 8 things are what drives humans, and people will do insane things if you can get them these. Survival, enjoyment of life, life extension, enjoyment of food and beverages, freedom from fear, pain, and danger, sexual companionship, comfortable living conditions, to be superior, winning, being better than other people, keeping up with the people around them. They don't like to feel behind, care and protection of loved ones, insurance, for example, social approval. And so I'm going to briefly go over this NESB framework from Kyle Milligan. These are the 4 big emotions that you need to push in every single piece of your copy. New/only, the most important emotion. They have to have never seen something like this before. And here are the power words. Breakthrough, revolutionary, new, announcing, discovery, revealed, changing, breaking, disruptive. The alter ego of this is only, which is arguably more powerful than new. And some power words are exclusive, patented, only here. Big/fast. Big infers change. Big works well with FOMO, which is fear of missing out, making them feel like they're going to miss out on something if they don't do what you're telling them to. Here's some of the power words, and the alter ego is fast. They must feel like they are standing at the foot of a mountain of opportunity, like they're going to miss out on something big, right? Fast multiplies the big of your offer. Easy / anybody. And so it's just stating that you have to understand anyone who likes to work is not reading your email or watching your video. They're working. People are lazy. Like I said before, they just want a pill or a surgery or something simple. Make it take very little time and effort. Create a system or step-by-step solutions, right? Here's some power words, and the alter ego is anybody. Make it seem like anyone can do it. Safe / predictable. People care about not losing than they do about winning. They care about not failing more than they do about succeeding. By pushing the safe emotion, you're making your offer more valuable and fighting skepticism. Here's some power words. Alter ego is predictable, which you can push by, showing your credibility, social proof, testimonials, case studies, and success stories. The next one is drug words, which is used to get readers addicted to your copy. And here are 6 principles which you can use to do just that. First, starting simple / starting like a slippery slope. Making your copy fast, easy, and effortless, which means it's no reason to slow down. It's easy to slide down, and you blink, and then you've already read half of the page, right? For example, like this email. Mountain copy. Your copy looks interesting. The flow switches up. It keeps people interested. As we can see with this one, it's not the same boring long sentences. It switches up, and it looks like a mountain, right? Connecting sentences. Short sentences that connect, like these. Here's how it's true, here's why. It gets people flowing down the page confidently. 4, trigger words. Things that sound juicy to your audience. 10K a month, Matrix, Puppet Masters, financial freedom, the final stage. 5th, 3rd to 5th grade reading level. Keep your copy simple. Don't speak like a science textbook. 6, write like a friend, not a science textbook. So if we look at this guy, who's made millions with info, by the way, he's not talking like a salesman. He's talking like he's your friend. 7, concrete / visual. Make them picture your copy and be specific with it. These are horrible examples of this, right? Your life will suck. A fruit, an old woman in a house, because it's not detailed. It doesn't get their mind visualizing it, right? Here are better examples. Green, juicy watermelon. If you say fruit, they're not necessarily going to know what you're talking about. It could be anything. But if you say old lady in a wooden cottage, now it's more specific. Now the same thing goes in everyone's heads. 7th, the sales thermostat. Your copy conveys more or less salesy emotions depending on who you're writing for, which is the target audience. So, something that's at 24% or 93%, you're still conveying the same message, but the way it's delivered, the amount of salesy feeling that you're getting from it is different. So if we look at these 2 emails, the font, the wording that they're using, the amount of text, it looks really packed. We can see that these look a lot more salesy, and these are a little bit less salesy, right? They're not specifically. They don't sound like they're selling you something. It's not as direct. That's what I'm trying to say. What you say is more important than how you say it. But keep your clients' wants in mind. Keep the dream customer in mind. And now, how to build a simple copy system. This is the 20% of assets that make up 80% of your sales. If you install these simple systems, you can increase conversion and sales rates, increase your trust, authority, audience connection, pre-sell leads before they even get on a call, and just have insanely high leverage. It's high leverage. You set it up once and it will sell forever. So let's first look at the anatomy of a system. What even is a system? System is input to a process to an output in an environment / area, which for us is, Instagram, YouTube, in a certain niche or market. You get the feedback through data and through observations, and then you put it back into the input to, improve it for the next time. Here's one quick thing that I do personally, which has helped me a lot with my copy. It is that I save funnels, advertisements, emails, graphics even, I log emails and I save graphics that I really like to give me inspiration for my own copy. And so finally, if you want to install a copy system, install these 3 systems. First is the buyer's list. So you have your traditional funnel, right? And then through automations, lead magnets, landing pages, DMs, interactions, you bring people to the buyer's list, which is an email list. And then you bring them to the welcome sequence, which is a set of 7 emails that you welcome them into your email list with, right? Starts with a welcome email, which sets the tone, tells them what to expect, starts building up the rapport and emotional connection, right? Secondly, you talk about your story. Thirdly, you break their old beliefs. You bust a myth or flawed assumption. You share a key realization that helped you go from A to B. And then you say what actually worked. You introduce your unique mechanism or system, right? Then you share a case study in the 5th email, right? So how Billy made 10K a month, how X went from A to B. Then you teach one useful concept, and then you invite them to take action to join you to go from A to B. And so after that, you just send them weekly emails with resources, actionable value, personal stories, and hints. And so that should be 1 to 3 emails a week. And here is the second, which is a VSL or killer sales page. A VSL is a video designed to pre-sell leads, build authority, build trust, and invoke action. And this action could be book a call or to DM you or whatever the action you want them to take is. And so like the awareness funnel we talked about earlier, it's just taking people down the funnel A to B. The VSL bridges the gap between someone who doesn't know you, doesn't trust you, doesn't know what you sell or offer, and someone who does trust you, likes you, and knows what you do / offer, is aware of your product. And here is the high-level framework for the VSL, which you can pause the video and study on your own. Next, profile ad system. This is something that you can set up once and just leave it forever, right? Here's the framework for the ad. You can pause the video and study it. We're going to move to weekly copy, which is the copy you should be making every week. Firstly, emails to the buyer's list we talked about earlier. 1 to 2 to 3 times a week, right? Here are the content types you should be making. Here's the psychological points you should be attacking. Secondly, YouTube videos. 1 YouTube video a week at least. Here's some types of content you can make. Educational breakdowns, belief shifting, commentary, systems / process tutorials, case study, storytelling, reframes, why X doesn't work videos. Here's some frameworks. And thirdly, IG stories. These are so crucial for selling because Instagram is a very personal app, right? Here's the types of content you should be posting on, your sales stories, behind the scenes of the process, daily beliefs, value, micro case studies or results, how X went from A to B, CTA polls, calling people to an action, whether it's DMing you or clicking a link, real-time proof, and here's some principles: building intimacy, breaking resistance, open loops, and make them feel like they're in your world. If you do all of this, if you implement anything from this video, I guarantee you that you will see a massive increase in your revenue. And so if you need help applying any of these, or you want this specific board, which has all the frameworks on it, go ahead and click the first link in the description and DM me on Instagram, and we'll get to work. Thank you for watching.